Coming up in today's food adventure, we're trying ancient Chinese snacks.
1800年的历史了。
What's that? A very special kind of malatang that spiced me to my soul.
This is bad for my ego. I'm good with spice and they've given me way less.
And a surprising breakfast culture that revolves around drinking hard liquor, yes, for breakfast.
多少度的呀？40几度的。
14 or 14?
40.
40.
40 like 白酒。
We're exploring one of China's most ancient cities.
This pot is 5,000 years old.
So grab snacks and get comfy because this food adventure is about to take you 4,000 years into the past. Hello, and welcome to another Chinese food adventure where I'm actually still digesting from the last food adventure we did less than 7 hours ago. Iris, Clarence, and I were eating in Wuhan, street side barbecue, and now we're on the 6:30 a.m. train. But I'm actually very excited because we're heading somewhere I've never been before. Actually, for me, Hubei Province is very much unexplored. I've only ever been to Wuhan, the capital, and today we're going to Jingzhou. So I have two questions. Why Jingzhou and why 6:30 a.m.?
I'm a big fan of Chinese history, and I knew that Jingzhou has history more than 4,000 years.
Wow.
Why that early? Because here today, our first step is going to taste the very classic Jingzhou noodles called dalian mian. My local friends tell me that the noodles are the best when it's at dawn. The broth is the purest and the cleanest.
The master broth's made from pork bones, then they also add this pork mint sauce as well as a pork stomach sauce. Then it's time for toppings. Sliced pork, crispy eel bones, something I've never seen before, shredded chicken, and crispy pork meatballs.
And the mini meatballs, so cute.
看起来好吃吗？
好吃，
你吃过吗？
我试过了，
好吃吗？
好吃。
那好，这是我第一次。
你跟我说话一样的不错啊，讲的蛮中文讲的蛮好啊。
没有，谢谢阿姨，拜拜。How nice. Okay. That's why I like street side eating.
So what we've got here is a very luxurious bowl of noodles. In fact, it takes 3 different animals to go into making it: chicken, pig, and eel.
And these 3 animals indicate the sky, the land, and the in the water.
I like the idea of the chicken. I very rarely see like shredded chicken in China because I feel like when you have chicken in China, it's always somehow involving the bones.
This is also my first time to try.
Oh, hot. Ooh. Nice and salty.
And the xian, we call it xian. I got this bite, the eel bone with shredded chicken. I like the concept of the eel bone.
It's so crunchy. The eel bones are like, it's not fishy. It's just
fishy.
really crispy, but it adds like a...
We call it xian.
I guess you can say umami.
But I consist on xian because xian is Chinese.
Okay, so I'll be Mrs. Umami and you can be Mrs. Xian. But it definitely is bringing the umami vibes to this.
And how about the sliced pork? A little bit marinated, right?
Have you tried one of these crispy meatballs yet?
No.
It's crispy. It's also got that fatty, lardy, deep fried taste that I love so much.
Somehow reminds me of KFC. I think that and the fried eel bones are my favorite part of this.
They're
Probably
all
because they're
fried.
crispy.
They're fried and crispy.
Oh, look at this puppy dog! Look at your face! He's looking at everyone here on the street, eating their noodles. I won't give you a bowl because I like them too much.
I mean, no shade to the sliced pork, but in desperate times, tough decisions must be made.
Can I give you a pat? Oh no. Only food. You're just using me. I feel used by you.
Seems this dog's got a taste for the finer things in life, and I don't blame him. This is one good bowl of noodles.
And I really like the noodles as well. They've got a little bit of a bite to them. They're alkaline noodles here.
And we are going to try rice noodles later. There's another very classic breakfast in Jingzhou.
But first we're on the hunt for Tongyou crispy onion oil pancakes.
But unfortunately it's closed. And on the door there's a very funny sign. It says, 有事休息.
Just I have something to do. Bye bye. What is something we don't know?
That sign back there really reminds me of a post that you made on Xiaohongshu recently.
Yes.
It's a photo from a public bathroom in Wuhan where the door says toilet, push, toilet. If you can't push, then someone's inside.
If you cannot push, that means someone is inside. Of course, someone is inside the toilet. They're using it.
And what was even funnier is all the responses.
Like this, for example. If I'm not outside, then I'm inside. Or this one's a classic. The coffee at our store, when you drink it, it tastes like coffee.
In another post, there is a welcome mat all the way going to the river. Going to the river, welcome. Like, this is the way you need to go. Welcome.
Wow, so that seems to be a bit of a Hubei thing. So yeah, unfortunately one of our breakfasts we won't be having, but we have our next one, which is right here. And I'm very intrigued because on this sign it says 早酒, which literally means early alcohol.
早酒 means they drink alcohol in very early morning because all along the Yangtze River we have this dog culture. The workers, they are tired overnight and they need something so refreshing and then to go to bed.
And the tradition has continued. This is what a typical breakfast would have looked like for a Yangtze River dock worker. First, a spicy offal hot pot, the rice noodles Iris Clarence mentioned earlier, and of course our morning wine.
多少度的呀？
14 or 14?
40.
40.
40 like a 白酒. We can try some easy thing first.
Yep.
We share the rice noodle. This one is only in Jingzhou Shashi. As you can see, it's a little curly. And then we try some of the beef offers and zip a little like a tequila.
Wow, okay.
And we can feel it it's burning through our throat to our stomach.
Well, I guess when in Rome, let's begin with our rice noodles, which look plain, but wow, are they packed with flavor.
The flavor is quite strong.
It's more of a deep, rich and complex flavor than the other one. I feel like the other one, I really love the other one.
But where that bowl was mostly salty and umami,
This one, the broth itself has many levels.
Yeah.
It has like the saltiness, obviously. It has a fragrance, a pepperiness, or maybe even like a Sichuan peppercorn
Yes.
quality to it.
Because we all along the Yangtze River, so they do influenced by Sichuan from the upstream, and now we are in the middle of the Yangtze River.
Just to put that all in geographical context, here's Hubei here, right smack bang in the middle of China with several major rivers flowing through it. So it's always been a hub of trade and transportation, plus it also borders 6 other provinces, many with very bold cuisines flavor-wise. So as you can imagine, those surrounding provinces have had their impact on the local cuisine.
All about the combination of the different cultures.
And I feel like our next dish is another perfect example of that, because this feels very Chongqing coded. It's a spicy, offal hot pot, which is apparently best enjoyed with morning wine. Well, here goes nothing.
Oh man, but I have to say it works.
Good.
Because with the saltiness and the strong flavors here, you can really appreciate how refreshing and also sweet the taste is of this alcohol.
And the aftertaste more like rice.
Yeah, it does. And it's refreshing. It's like a palate cleanser.
Very strong.
We'll be happy. We're going to be partying on the city wall.
So that's our very next stop, the ancient city wall of Jingzhou, one of the best preserved ancient city walls in southern China. The wall itself stretches around 10 kilometers long, and everything you see inside it was once the ancient city of Jingzhou.
We are inside the ancient city now. Though the houses now they are new, but the spirit here.
To understand more about Jingzhou and why it was so important in ancient China, we've come to the museum.
Look, to be completely honest, I'm not the biggest museum girl, but you know who is? Iris Clarence. It's a bit infectious because you're so excited to go into this building
love
and
this
learn
place.
about history. And it's actually not the first time you've been here, right?
Second time.
And you like this museum?
Yes, but I still got a lot to learn.
How long do you think we're going to be here?
But for today, like 1 to 2 hours. Is that okay for you?
Yes! Let's go!
This one is the old building for the museum, and we are going to see this first to know some knowledge about the earliest thing they discovered in Jingzhou. We can see there are some symbols, some shapes on the pot. Here it looks like a moon, but on this time there's no words. We don't have characters, but the people can use different shapes to show maybe this is my thing, not yours.
So this pot was from before the time of characters.
Yeah, before that.
So that must be thousands and thousands of years old.
Yes, like 4,000, 5,000 years old.
This pot is 5,000 years old. Okay, I mean, that's kind of interesting.
Even more interesting are these 4,000-year-old figurines unearthed here in Jingzhou that depict different animals that would have lived here. And yes, you're seeing that right, that's an elephant, which shows that not only was ancient Hubei home to elephants, but the climate must have also been very different back then too. Maybe I should go to museums more. This is kind of fun.
And just like how learning a bit about a city's history will enhance your experience in that city, doing your homework before coming to China and getting China ready will make your trip to China so much more enjoyable. So lucky for you guys, I've just finished putting together a Get China Ready guide. Yes, this is a shameless plug, but I've spent so long on this guide and it answers absolutely any question you might have before a trip to China, because China does work a lot differently from other countries that you may have traveled to before. For example, apps you'd usually use when you arrive in a new country to get around and find good food and translate, they don't work here in China. Instead, there's a a whole new system of apps you need to download to be able to even function in China. What are those apps? Well, I'll be telling you in the Get China Ready guide. I'll be taking you through all the admin related topics that you need to know before a trip to China, plus cultural etiquette topics, the do's and don'ts. If you've got a trip to China coming up or you've got a friend that's about to go to China, let them know about the Get China Ready guide, and I know it's going to help you so much. Anyway, back to the video.
This museum visit didn't only show me a bunch of very old things.
So this is also from like 2,500 years ago.
It also helped me understand why Jingzhou is so important in Chinese history. Let's see if I can impress Iris Clarence with what I've learned today.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We are here in Jingzhou, which was the political center of the Chu Kingdom.
Yeah.
What was the Chu Kingdom? It was one of many kingdoms that were battling it out around 200 BC. But it was one of the, if not the most powerful one of the time. But then along came Qin Shi Huang and the Qin dynasty, which actually defeated Chu Kingdom to start the Qing dynasty. Not the longest dynasty, only 15 years, but very memorable one. A lot of people know about Qin Shi Huang, the terracotta warriors, for example. Yeah, so he basically united China. But then after the Qin dynasty came the Han dynasty. And Han dynasty was basically made from
The Chu culture.
Chu culture
And the Chu
became
people.
Han culture.
Yeah.
So Hanfu, like the traditional Han clothing, is actually based on Chu clothing.
yes.
And then flash to the Three Kingdoms period, hundreds of years later.
Yes, after Han.
Jingzhou is still a very important place in China, and actually in the Three Kingdoms period, everyone was fighting over it. The reason people wanted Jingzhou so much is it has a very strategic location, and whoever was able to have control of Jingzhou basically had control of the Yangtze River and a lot of trade and routes and agriculture, and basically that's what I know about Jingzhou.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it only makes sense for a city with so many thousands of years of history. It's had more than enough time to develop some pretty epic snacks.
And this is actually one of my favorite Chinese street snacks of all time, and it's also my husband's like favorite thing to eat in China. You've probably seen it before. It had a real burst of popularity in the last few years. So if you've been to a street food street anywhere in China, odds are you've probably seen this. This is a guokui. 这个guokui有好几年的历史吗？
1800年的历史了。
哇塞！
It's basically a ball of dough filled with your choice of filling. For our first one here, we're going for pork. It's flattened until super thin, then placed inside this hot clay oven until golden and crispy.
It's stuck to the sides, and then it basically just bakes like that through the direct heat from the pot and then residual heat throughout the rest.
我们家的锅盔在荆州是最有名气的啊，
We actually went for two, one savory one with pork and one sweet one filled with sugar.
甜的很好吃的。
Shima. Oh, look at that. Oh my god.
反面都漂亮。
好好看. Wow塞.
Then it's cut up for ease of eating, and that's that. I think it's the most ancient street food I've ever eaten.
Okay, smells like
You
bread.
can see the melted sugar inside.
A little bit.
Yes.
It's very crispy. It's still very hot. Let's try. Like slightly sweet.
Super crispy.
Yeah, it's super crispy on the outside, slightly soft on the inside, and then it's got that sugar as well. So it basically just tastes like toasted bread with sugar.
And it's a little bit stretchy.
Now let's try the savory one, the one I personally always go for when I get this as a snack.
And I find that it's just so
Wow.
flavorful.
Look at the inside. Meat and the spring onions and a little bit chili.
Sweet bread is good, but this is the kind of thing I could eat a whole pancake of. Oh my god. So it's meaty, it's fragrant from the spring onion, but this one also has some cumin inside. So it's got a slight, or like some kind of, almost
Yes.
tastes like curry.
Yes. A little bit like curry, yes.
Yeah. Can you imagine here in the ancient city of Jingzhou, 1,800 years ago, people were just around eating this exact thing, probably being like, wow, this is so good. And then 1,800
Yeah.
years later, it's still here.
It's been a very big 24 hours of eating here with Iris Clarence. Since 5 p.m. yesterday in Wuhan, we've had shengtang, lotus fries, ni hao, crayfish, spicy clams, cold noodles, street barbecue, dalian mian, rice noodles, offal hot pot, of course the morning wine, and now guokui. But now it's time for our final meal of this food adventure, one I've been excited for all day. Jingzhou's very own malatang with a very special name.
It's 荆州沙市女人街串串麻辣烫.
It's basically everyone sits around a bench and you have the big bowl of malatang.
And it's quite a bit different to the kind of malatang I'm used to.
First thing that happens is you arrive in this store and they ask you, how spicy do you want? So they add a little bit of spice to your bowl and then they add some soup and that's your base. And then you basically look at the menu and you decide what you want. And either it's already in this massive pot behind us here,
or she adds it to the pot. And basically, yeah, we've already ordered some items.
We have 半圆. 半圆, you can see they're half circle balls, right? The half circle balls made of fish. And for 豆棍, they are the tofu products, looks like the stick.
Let's
they
try.
have sesame.
Well, this is something that I like from Dongbei. It's a very empty jar of sesame paste.
吃完了已经.
Guess I'm not the only one who likes sesame sauce in my malatang. First, we're trying banyuan, fish, and also some starch inside.
Yeah, and it's fried.
And it's fried. We. Whoa! Did you say super spicy or 一点点辣 for me? Because that
I
is.
say 一点点辣。它刚刚这个是微辣吗？给它调的。
好辣这个，没想到. And then we have one more ball, which is this one,
It's made of mud bean.
which is quite crumbly in texture. It reminds me a little bit of a falafel, like a little bit, like a tiny. Actually, you know what? It doesn't actually remind me of a falafel.
Hot, right? Hot and spicy.
This doesn't remind me of any malatang I've had before, but what it does remind me of something I've actually had in Jiangxi province called 水煮.
Yeah, I knew 水煮.
Yeah.
They're quite spicy. They're really spicy.
That's really spicy, but that's what this reminds me of. You have this big pot
Big
of
pot.
different ingredients that you ask for.
As I say, the food and the culture along the Yangtze River, they have some similarities.
I think my favorite ingredient is this tube of tofu.
I do like
But be
this one.
careful because it soaks up all the sauce.
Yes.
Wow. Man, this is bad for my ego. I'm good with spice and they've given me way la. Well, cheers to Jingzhou and my first ever exploration outside of Wuhan into Hubei Province. And it's made me realize that I need to do more Hubei adventuring because it's full of history, really diverse food. And even in just today, we've had so many different varieties of food and flavors anyway, I've really enjoyed it. So I think my next stop, I want to try Enshe because I've been hearing a lot of things about
That's a
Enshe.
very beautiful place.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. And tomorrow I actually fly to Singapore. So that'll be the next few videos will be coming to you from Singapore. Thank you for joining me. As always, don't forget to subscribe to Iris/Clarence's
Thank you so
channel.
much.
And make sure you subscribe to my channel as well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next week from Singapore. Bye, guys.